Well, my work trip to Baltimore got canceled due to a hurricane whose name is Florence.
What a hoe. Well, my teeth are shifting again after all these years.
Well, you could always get Invisalign. It only cost me $6,000.
Great.
My neighbor's electric fence is doing a buzzing thing that I can hear through earplugs.
Oh. Well, at 8 a.m. this morning, my veterinarian told me a story about violent horse sex.
What?
It's a little early for that.
I would say so. Have such a good day.
Party people, welcome to Have Such a Good Day.
Even if you're not a party person, today we're partying together.
Yeah, man.
And it's whatever
10th
kind
episode.
of 10th episode. How about that? We were like, is it our birthday? Is it our anniversary? I looked up on the internet, like, what's 10 years? 10 episodes, not exactly the same, but apparently I'm supposed to give you a gift of 10.
Well, where is it?
I don't know. I did not plan well.
Damn it.
I hope you will still stay married to me.
I'm very disappointed.
Because I will forget our 20-year.
What happens when we have 200 episodes? What do I get?
I don't know. My firstborn. Speaking of firstborn, third, really. For those of you watching the video version of the show, we'll see Otis the dog, who really wanted to be part of the show. He's not going to say anything. So if you're audio only, check out the video. We're making them free on YouTube, but he's a real cute guy, and he's going to make sure that we stay safe.
He's a little bud.
He's a little bud. He's a special bud.
He's a special bud. So, I was sort of thinking about different ways to sort of describe our show.
Sure.
How about...
Surprisingly, you'd think it's not as easy.
It's not.
Have such a good day. That seems self-explanatory.
It does.
But there's more sort of there's a method to our madness, but how do we explain that method?
There's a contrasting... It's multidimensional. It's not just like, Footloose and Fancy Free Have Such a Great Day. There's a little dark comedy there.
Right.
I don't know. You're sitting by a crackling fire with a friend, drinking some smoky scotch or maybe tea if if that's what you're into.
A beverage.
Yeah, a beverage.
However your hydration ways wander. Smoky scotch doesn't sound good to me.
What about a smoky mezcal? See, I actually wanted to say, because I prefer a mezcal. I should have just said that.
Well, that's okay.
I like scotch,
you're appealing to the scotch folks. Scotch is too leathery for me.
I used to not like it. I think it's an acquired thing.
I think it is too, because
I used
to scotch, whiskey, bourbon, they all tasted the same and they tasted bad.
Yeah.
I now realize, they're actually quite
very
different.
Like rye, bourbon.
Totally.
And honestly, scotch at first, I was like, ooh, it tastes like Band-Aids. I had an ex who used to drink
scotch breath.
Well, he used to drink a lot at night, but he always had really nice scotch. And so I got like a good sort of education, and it really grew on me. Now I like crave that smoky flavor, the Band-Aidy kind of thing. It's weird.
It's amazing how somebody can, whether it's cologne or a certain thing that they're eating, if you like the person, it doesn't even have to be like a love thing.
Yeah.
But that sort of smell and that like reminiscence part of it is you smell it and you're like, oh, nice memory.
And I also feel like I had a wine the other day that when you started to drink it, like the nose was very gasoline-y, and at first you'd think, well, why would you want to drink that? But in the wine way, it was really interesting. I actually really liked it. It was a really good wine. But it's funny how certain smells and tastes are different when you're drinking alcohol. Like forest floor, who wants to eat forest floor in a wine? Right. But if it has like an earthy vibe, like it can be really nice.
It's a nice way to describe it.
Well, thank you very much. So I wanted to mention we like to sort of plug our bonus topic at the top of the show for those of you who are still not our $5 or $10 our $5
$5
patrons.
and more.
Yes, $5 or more.
We call you ballers, but you're patrons.
You're ballers. You're ballers.
If you're a patron, you know who you are, and we love you.
And so we are doing these bonus topics that at the end of the show, and if you pay $5 or more, you get to hear them. So today's is Well, it's funny. We had like a pretty neck and neck poll today, and it's been going all afternoon. But we had to decide a few hours ago, so we went with our all-time favorite movie scenes ever. Yeah.
So that's if you don't know anything about Patreon, talk about it a little bit more later in the show. Yep. But once we say goodbye to everybody, the show actually continues. We just roll right in to our bonus topic, and we love the folks who are already joining us for that, and we hope many more of you will as well. And I mean, everyone's got favorite movie scenes.
Absolutely. I couldn't even narrow mine down. It was really tough, actually.
I feel that my list is only the beginning of a journey that if I had like a year, I probably wouldn't finish. Like top 10, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I almost did like a top 5. We'll have to see how far we can go.
Yeah, I put a few in there and figured, all right, well, it'll be a good jumping off point, and hopefully we'll spur some conversation with you guys as well. Guys and gals, it's funny, before we get started into how our week has been, which I think by and large probably a little bit better than how we felt last week.
I think so.
Some weeks are better than others.
Yeah.
We all know this.
It's only Tuesday today. I guess we have a little ways to go.
Yeah, we're recording the show a day early. Heather's traveling. I was about to.
Yeah.
But in fact, well, might as well just mention that now. I was gonna go to Baltimore for work, and I don't know that much about hurricane season, but I know it sucks.
Yeah.
And I know people who have lost houses. And
I can't even imagine.
And much worse, right? And being from California, as you are, and Heather and I are both from earthquake country, and have lived through lots of small earthquakes and a couple really big ones. I don't know anything about hurricanes, or like they frighten me. The patterns, you know, they're coming. You got to like get out of the house, and your roof has to be.
Do those frighten you more than tsunamis?
No. Nothing frightens me more than a tsunami.
Tsunamis are crazy.
And I live at the beach. You can't see out this window, but if I opened my shades, you see the beach. I live in a tsunami evacuation zone.
It's crazy.
But the idea of the tide going out like weirdly far before it comes back.
So strong that it pulls houses down. But what do you think is worse, that or a tidal wave? Because tidal waves have always freaked me out too. I mean, because that's like a big wave like coming at you. Like
I don't know the difference.
Tsunamis are more. They have a very, very strong undertow, but they're low. Oh. They go low, but like a tidal wave is an actual like wall of a wave like going. I don't know how often tidal waves happen, because you don't hear about them very much. No. I think tsunamis are more common.
I feel like tidal wave is just like the name of a roller coaster at
like a bubble gum or something.
Yeah, at a carnival.
Tidal wave.
Let's go on the tidal wave. Like, what is it? I don't know. It's a really big wave. Scary.
And it goes like this, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a hurricane, Hurricane Florence. Hurricane, yep, and it's supposed to hit the Carolinas, but Baltimore is not that far above, and it just became something where the travel it didn't make a lot of sense, and so the trip was canceled. Now, at the time of recording, we don't know how this will be affected because it hasn't hit the shore of where it's intended to hit. Sounds pretty bad. Really hope it, sometimes these dissipate before they hit land, and so I certainly hope that that's the case. But what I do know is that my time in D.C. is
not going to happen.
It has been postponed.
Yeah.
And I actually really like Baltimore. I was there for the first time last year, so kind of a bummer. But besides natural disasters, something where it's like, oh, it's catastrophic. What about SFO, for example, that San Francisco's International Airport? San Francisco is one of the foggiest cities around. Anybody who lives there, we call it Old Fog Town. It's foggy all the time.
Carl the Fog. There's an actual
Carl the Fog. Yeah, Carl with a K is a fictional character
on Twitter.
Who started on Twitter. I think Instagram,
He's on Instagram
as well.
And stuff, yeah.
And because the fog is part of the city.
It has a personality, yeah.
Yeah, the fog, you better embrace it because you're never going to get away from the fog.
Bring a scarf
right,
and a
San
beanie.
Francisco, lots of layers. And it's kind of wet. But because SFO is a huge international airport terminal, and my flight, and I go up there pretty often because I used to live there, I'm from there, I got friends there, I work there often. My flights are consistently delayed or even canceled.
It has some of the
because
most
of, and it's always like bad weather, and it's always just fog. Where I'm like,
totally.
I know that. I mean, pilots are doing the Lord's work. I don't have any idea what's happening, but I do feel like, can't we figure out the fog thing?
Yeah, like because why did you build the airport in Daly City?
It's not a storm.
Yeah,
it's just regular old fog, and it'll do the same thing tomorrow. So
yeah, like can you get aren't there fog lights? I mean, put fog lights on the fucking airplane.
There's gotta be some sonar thing we don't understand about
we're
fog.
A high-tech world
that just, because then it's like, oh, then the aircraft's late, and then the connection, it ruins so many people's air travel experiences. But it's like part of what the city is known for best.
Oh yeah, totally.
If Portland's raining, do planes land? Yeah, they sure do.
And it's a cloud cover. Like fog is so it's
there's got to be something with how vertical it is.
Yeah,
right.
like,
because clouds you kind of go through quickly, and you're either under them or over them, right? And an
fog
airplane
is thick, and so you can't see beyond it. And I don't know. Somebody out there, let's put our heads together and come up with a solution.
Let's please do. Yes, perhaps one of you scientist types can give us
Tesla guy. Let's have him.
Yeah,
do that.
Elon Musk. Figure out the cloud thing, man. I don't want my flights to be late at SFO anymore. Tom McLeod, who hello, he's one of our $10 patrons, I think, or at least $5, or maybe $1. I don't know, Tom. Pony up. CEO of Omni, really cool company, and a great friend. He's been taking flight lessons. And
I can see that.
The last time I was in a non-commercial plane was actually for work. The people that I was rolling with, who were much higher rollers than me, had like a private plane for the day. This is a company plane, not their personal plane. And I wanted to sit up with the pilot, because it's kind of a small, like 12 seater. And according to him, and this was an older guy, he was like, yeah, they kind of fly themselves. You got a path, you've got the whole thing on your iPad. Yeah. I mean, the air traffic controller, what, it's like they're kind of guiding you. It's you have to know what you're doing, but a lot of this is truly autopilot.
Oh, totally.
And I said to Tom, I mean, because he's like, flying a plane is really hard, and I was like, oh, I thought they were kind of like, they kind of flew themselves. And he's like, Sarah, what are you talking about? Being a pilot is really hard, or we'd all be pilots. I'm like, I actually don't know. I just knew a guy with an iPad who said that there was a flight plan that was like, I don't know. I will never be a pilot.
I always think of Airplane, the movie, and just the automatic pilot, and he like blew him up, and he was like a blow up doll. That's a whole thing.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
That is a classic.
But I think
you should rewatch that.
I make Shirley jokes all the time.
Oh, me too. Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah.
So
anyway, before we move on, you mentioned you had to go to the vet, and you mentioned something about horse copulation, and I just have.
You want to hear more? You want me to elaborate?
I don't really, but I feel we must. We must know why he did this.
I think that he was making a point. In fact, now that I think about it, we had talked for a second about one of my cats has a little bit of behavioral stuff, and he sometimes will attack me. And I think that he was telling me the story saying that animals have this weird natural, he said sometimes with certain cats and certain animals, it doesn't really matter what you do or what you give them, if you medicate them or whatever. They just have these natural urges that just come out occasionally, and then he goes into this whole like anecdote about, I remember this one time when I was at the stable and I literally witnessed two horses having sex, and it was so violent because like it looks like they're killing each other. So like they're either killing each other or they're copulating.
I've seen it, and it's true. It does look bad.
But it was really awkward because these rooms at the vets are so small, and he's standing towering over me. I'm like, okay.
It's all right. It's funny because
it's a little awkward.
Yeah, and I don't know how well you know your vet, and
he's kind of cute actually.
Okay. but okay, like maybe you guys are like best buds, and or maybe you like are meeting him for the first time, and obviously context is important. Yeah. But in general, especially because people are stressed when they're at the vet, they're animal stressed.
I wanted
they don't
to get
be
to the
there.
point.
Yeah, it's that's not like a fun thing. And to kind of like, and 8 a.m. is real early. Even if you had coffee, you're probably just starting your day. And that is, it's intense.
I was like, what is your point? I thought it was funny too, because I immediately thought I got to talk about this on the show. Like, it's good fodder, okay?
Right.
So I was like, I was suffered through it. But I wanted to, so that happened.
At least you didn't have to like experience violent horse sex. It was just a bit of a note in passing from your vet.
I thought it was funny when I was writing scripts today, I kept looking up at I was kind of waiting for you to see my little line that was violent horse sex, because you didn't know what that meant.
I saw it. I was like, I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
I love that though, like to be able to see like a little peek into
a little window into what I might hear later.
Yes. It's all good times. But I wanted to mention, so one of our patrons, Blair Slavin, maybe Slavin. Yeah. Probably Slavin. Yeah. He writes us a lot. Thank you so much for writing in so often. He's really sweet. He has been really wanting to know, Sarah, from you specifically, what you do, why you're such a successful paperless person.
Oh, he means like wire,
how do you stay organized?
Oh, well, first of all, I don't stay organized. Heather will tell you.
Yeah, I'm the organized one.
It's true. I'm not a mess. I'm an adult woman. I live alone. I've got 3 fucking pets. And I somehow work it out. But I'm not organized. And I know it. I have good days and bad days. Sure. But in general, it's controlled chaos. And it just has always been this way. And it works for me, and that's why I'm insufferable and will die alone. But that is neither here nor there.
And your animals will eat you.
Right, and that's fine. I'm dead.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like people are like, oh, the cats will eat your face. I'm like, I'm dead.
Like maybe
I
that's
want
a good
them
thing.
to live longer until someone discovers them. And then they'll always
I'll check
have
up on
me
you. I'll make sure that
them.
you're all right.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. But otherwise, I've got a printer. It's in a closet. I haven't used it in some time. I hate paper. I hate pens.
Yeah.
Really hate pencils.
Do you ever write? Is there any, how often do you write?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Very seldom. If you asked me for a pen right now, there's one around somewhere, but it would take me a few minutes to find the drawer that it's in.
The reason why I turned around is I just realized I forgot. I sent you a postcard. Did you get it?
No.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it's possible it's in my mailbox and I just haven't seen it. Because I only look for things like, the check owed you.
Yeah, so you leave everything else in there.
Most of the time. Right. And then I'm like, ooh, Department of Water. I should probably open this. See? Not organized.
Yeah. Well, anyway, check your...
Also hate paper.
I totally forgot. You do have a postcard for me.
Oh
but I wanted it to be a surprise.
Oh, well, now I'm excited. See, that's good paper.
I know.
But to answer your question, Blair, I hate wires, and I know I don't even have the AirPods because they don't fit my ears right. But I mean, the whole idea of like no wires, no ink, no paper, just stuff.
But printers are like the worst. I hate printers. They're always out of ink. You're always out of paper.
Right. And my printer is actually real nice. It's a fax machine. It does it all. But it's so big, and I just don't want to use it. I just keep it in the closet and then tell people I don't have a printer. Sorry. Now you know the truth.
I mean, I want the world to be printerless. Like, I don't ever want to have to print anything out ever. Make a digital document. Like, there are certain cases though, like for example, huge pet peeve when you have to return something, like say to Amazon or something, but you have to print out the return label or the like return receipt.
Oh God.
And I'm like,
never.
There's got to be an easier way. Can you submit a digital version of it? Because then I'm always like, the package will stay on my table for weeks because I just don't want to print. Like, it's so funny how that happens. Like, it's not even a big deal. Like, just print it. It is a big deal. It's so archaic. It feels so archaic or something.
Yeah, the printing of things that you need on boxes that then you have to ship. The whole thing is like, I've got these speakers that I've promised to a friend for some time now. And I meant it. I want it to be a housewarming gift, but I'm like, okay, how do I get them like
Yeah,
into
that's
my
going to take you
car,
like years to get that
and then
accomplished.
there's a UPS store pretty close by, but even they're really heavy, and it's like without help from someone, quite honestly, that's stronger than me, and maybe even a couple people.
Might be able to help you.
Odie's not gonna help. Odie will eat the speakers. But I don't know. It's yeah, shipping and printing. So Blair, I don't know if that answered your question, but
I think a fly just went up my nose.
Ooh.
I'm not kidding.
That's gross.
Anyway, carry on.
Oh.
From one rant to another. Yes, I'm fine. It just went to my brain. No big deal.
Yeah, it's fine. It's probably full of fiber.
There
what?
it is.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Ooh. Well,
Aggressive fly.
Lisa's not in there anymore. Yuck. So I wanted to mention really briefly, and anybody who's, I don't know, followed me on Twitter or just kind of, we sort of know each other on social media over the years, has probably heard this before. And I don't know why this is my crusade in life. We all have crusades where everyone else is like, why do you care?
Yeah.
Why do you care so much?
I like this crusade.
This crusade of mine is the difference between standard time and daylight time.
Mm-hmm.
Now that could be Pacific Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, Central, Mountain. We're all sorts of GMT stuff.
Yeah.
And we know that daylight savings happens differently in certain parts of the world or not at all. Okay, got that. When you're talking about the continental U.S., we are in daylight time. We will not be in standard time until we fall back. That's what fall back and spring forward mean. That's why the times change twice a year. We all know this. And yet, people have such a hard time not saying something like, so we're in Pacific time because we're in Los Angeles. They'll say PST. And I'm like, you mean PDT? Because daylight time.
Yeah.
And they'll kind of look at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, because it's not standard time, it's daylight time. The S and the D indicate.
I think people just use PST or year round, like as a standard.
Correct.
Which is wrong.
It is. It's
Yeah.
wrong more than half the year.
Yeah,
This
no,
isn't even a
you're right.
50-50 thing.
You're right.
It's wrong more than half the time. Those are stats I can't live with.
So are you one of those people, because every year there's this whole controversial thing about like, let's just get rid of all of it. Like, let's just have one standard time.
Well, so here's another thing.
How do you feel about that?
Thank you for asking. Here's the thing is that when we move to standard time, which means that it gets darker earlier and it
Yes,
gets
which
lighter
sucks.
earlier. It's also winter, so the
Yeah.
days are shorter. In this part of the world, what happens is that people go, I hate daylight saving. It's just the worst. It's so dark and dreary. And I'm like, no, you hate standard time. Daylight savings is
Are
what
you always correcting people?
Always.
That's
and
so
it's
funny.
And it's unappreciated. It's like the grammar Nazi where people
Yeah.
are like, why don't you just fuck off?
We're definitely going to have to make the show explicit. I think we've had 3 F-bombs.
I can bleep.
No, it's all good.
But that's anyway. The reason that I thought about it today was I had to call my bank, Bank of America, big bank, maybe the nation's biggest,
Huge.
or one of them anyway. Yeah, and I talking to them about whatever, like a check that I had deposited, and I'm trying to figure out when it's going to post, and she's saying something 5 p.m. PST, and I said, well, you mean PDT, right? I mean, like, because if you mean PST, you're not talking about 5 p.m. You'd be talking about 4 p.m. And she's like, "What? What are you talking?" And you kind of you hear that sort of like pause and being like, "Ma'am, can you hear me?" And I'm like, "No, I can hear you. It's just not PST because it's it's like we're not even at Halloween yet. When this happens."
And yeah, like she's totally irked. She's just
she's irked and she doesn't understand what I'm saying. And normally I'd just be like, yeah, whatever. This is my crusade. Nobody cares. But you work at a bank. And I'm asking very specifically about something where it's like, there's money involved. Who knows what I have to pay for? It's very important that you know the difference between standard and daylight time.
But do you think it's more important that the bank person or like a pilot or an airport person might be more important slightly? I don't know. I think they're equally important.
I think they're okay. The pilot wins. That's life or death, right?
Yeah, pretty
I'm not
much.
going to die if I don't get my check. Before 5 p.m. PST.
Well, you might actually.
But
you might not be able to buy any
this
food.
is it's just one of those things where I'm like,
no, I get it.
Do
I like
I
it.
have a gift, and
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
the only person who can figure this out?
I think it's a little. It's a little convoluted. I think people do get confused. I see kind of why they do.
Yeah.
But I really like this about you, Sarah. I think this is a good quality.
Thank you,
it's
Heather.
It's a valiant thing that you're doing, and I think you should continue to fight for it and stand behind it.
I will. And
correct me if I'm not right, because I think I use PST most of the time.
And that's okay. You would not be alone. I know that there are bigger fish to fry in this world.
I'm happy that I'm not alone in
but
this
B
world.
of A customer rep, you were actually very nice. But I just feel like you should know.
That'd be kind of cool if she was listening.
You should know that I wanted to help. I really wanted to help you, and I'm sorry.
Did you tell her to have such a good day? At the end of the conversation.
I don't think I did. I didn't like the answer she gave me, and so I was like, all right, bye. You know when you're like, okay, bye, and they're like, anything else I can help you with? There'll be a short survey. And
Talk
you're
about
like,
a pet
what?
peeve. That drives me crazy. Where it's like, and it's a long spiel, and you're like, okay, bye, like bye. Like I don't.
And like also like I had a very specific thing that like you actually didn't really solve for me, which is okay. I mean, I called.
Do you take the surveys?
I do. I didn't today.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I didn't like her or because
How often do you do it though? Honestly. Like how often do you take surveys?
So I've got some gear from Black Magic in my studio. We've kind of played around with a little bit on the show, but not in any of our episodes lately. And there was some extremely difficult tech support power cycle thing that I had to do. And I mean, I could not figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was on the phone with customer service. And I mean, the guy, he really helped me. Mm-hmm. And when it was all said and done, he was like, want to take a survey? And I'm like, yes, I do.
You know,
because he went above and beyond. And I really wanted someone to know how cool he had been and how helpful.
See, I do the same thing where it's like someone, because I had a similar situation with Spectrum this week. My internet keeps going up and down.
Yeah.
I talked to 3 different people. The first 2 people were definitely blowing smoke. They didn't tell me any info. The third guy was like really transparent and really smart about it because he used to be a tech and he laid it all out. So survey.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I like this. This is interesting stuff. I actually want to, so, you know, it's a film festival season. I'm sure that you've heard, a lot of news about that.
I have, yes.
It's a pretty exciting year actually, or season, I guess you would call it. But we've got Telluride, we've got Venice in Toronto that just happened.
Not our Venice, Italy.
No, sorry, Venice, Italy. Yes,
but you know, we're in
it's
Venice,
also
Venice, Los Angeles, California,
on
right
the
now.
water. You know, there's
Sure.
some similarities. But it's also sinking.
Toronto, I would say, arguably is the biggest of the 3, but Venice is pretty big. I mean, it's not Cannes, but it's pretty big. It
I
seems
agree.
to be getting
Telluride,
bigger
I think,
every
is
year.
smaller. I heard that, like, you know, Telluride is a lot of these like really rich like cinephiles that you it's very intimate, but you have a lot of people that are paying in to see these movies that are just like big, like movie buffs.
It's
Very
also a ski resort
shishi.
in Colorado.
Totally.
So that all kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, it does. And I was thinking about it because I listen to a lot of this type of stuff, and, you know, interviews and that kind of thing. And I'm like, God, I just get so like starry eyed because I realize how much that would have been kind of a dream job for me, is to like be a movie reviewer. So you go to all these festivals and you sit there with like your little flashlight and your pad in the movie, and you kind of, you know, you write your review or you talk about it, whether you're on a podcast or whatever. And oh my God, I get so excited. And I just, it's one of those things where it's not like a life regret, but I'm like, man, that would have been a great job. Or, you know, obviously making the films is also a dream job. So,
Sure.
But
I think reviewing is probably more fun.
Maybe
Making is pretty,
you're right. It's
I mean, it's rewarding, but man, it's grueling.
But what blows my mind is like these people who, again, we go back to this theme a lot, where these real like creative, original thinkers, and like I get really geeked out when I see a new movie coming out that I know is going to be like really good. It's a director that's like phenomenal. And it's like, how did they start the process of making this feature film? Like, where do you begin? It's like, it is such a huge, there's so many people involved. Like, I would love to sort of shadow someone just to see how it's all done. I mean, we do productions, obviously, but this is feature filmmaking. This is totally
different.
Grand
scale. This is the sort of thing where, well, it completely depends on the movie, obviously, but so many, you know, well-known directors don't actually interact with most of their crew because somebody
like
else is managing the crew.
Totally.
You know, and it's and it goes on and on.
Yeah, and so I think it was a very interesting thing that has come out of this film festival season is Netflix has, they have lofty goals. They are trying really hard to kind of edge their way into sophisticated like filmmaking and be a production company that actually is winning awards and doing big things. Yeah. They have a film that is getting a lot of Oscar buzz. It's called Roma. It's by Alfonso Cuarón. He did Gravity.
You had to remind me earlier. I was like, have I seen that? The Sandra Bullock, George Clooney space movie.
Yeah, and it's very cinematic.
Space movie. But a really good one.
Really, really good. Yeah. And Roma's very different. It's black and white, which is interesting for a black and white film to get Oscar buzz. It's supposedly freaking amazing.
Well, what was the movie with it was a silent movie. That was black and white.
Right. Totally. I forgot about that.
I can't remember the name of it now. Either. It got Best Picture.
No, you're right. Anyway, so black and white. It is, Alfonso Cuarón. It is it's kind of like a Fellini movie, so it's like Italian, and it's very like I don't know if you've seen a lot of Fellini, but it's very arty,
kind of racy,
kind of racy. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really cool that like something like Netflix, who hasn't ever gotten a nomination for a film Oscar, we're jumping ahead. I don't know if they'll get nominated. Sure. I would bet money they will. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. Really kind of interesting that Netflix is the one that is behind this. The things that I'm mostly excited about that have been in these festivals, I'm so excited about this movie. I would say this is the movie I'm most excited about this year. And it's called The Favorite, and it's spelled in like the British style, favorite.
Tom Merritt loves that.
Yeah, it says Yorgos Lanthimos.
The artist.
Oh, the artist. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
God, I actually
it was gonna
really
bug
like
me.
that.
I had to look it up real quick. Yeah. But keep going.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
This guy, this filmmaker, kind of fascinating. Emma Stone's in it. Rachel Weisz. Oh, Yorgos, the director, did The Lobster. Really kind of arty, experimental director.
Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, both. Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be like a absurd comedy. In fact, I talked about it a little bit in our newsletter this week. But I think, do you know about Vox Lux?
No.
I thought you might not. It is Natalie Portman plays
I already love it.
Rock star that like she like becomes this. It's funny because they just released a very short teaser trailer like today or yesterday, and it's showing her walking on stage like all glitter, like she becomes a famous rock star, and it's such an ode to Black Swan because she's got these like black wings and she's walking out. That's it. And then it's like credits. Like they only show like her from the back of the head, walking on the stage. I am so excited.
I there's so many of these rock dramas that don't do well, and quite frankly aren't very good. Natalie Portman doesn't really mess up a movie though.
No, she's pretty good.
She's
living her best life, man.
Oh,
I mean, seriously, Natalie, can you imagine?
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, she's having a good. She's probably had a really nice penthouse at the Venice Film Festival.
Yeah, and I mean, she probably has like a beautiful place in Paris. I know she lives there.
She probably has all of those things in her beautiful husband,
closet,
and her beautiful children.
Oh my God, her shoe collection.
And she's just so good as an actress, and you just want to die.
The other two that I'm excited about are Suspiria, which is Luca Guadagnino, who did one of my favorite movies of last year, Call Me By Your Name. And then the Jonah Hill skateboarding movie called Mid-90s sounds really cool. There's also a Coen Brothers movie, but I don't know that much about it, but I love the Coen Brothers. That's it. I'm done.
Oh.
Moving on.
This is good, though. This is good. It's funny you mentioned skateboarding. This is now that I have a dog.
I happen to have a magazine about skateboarding on the table.
Isn't that funny?
What do you know?
It just showed up. Now that I have a dog sitting at our feet, laying, he sleeps a lot, man. I don't know. I got lucky. But one of the things that I now do often that I never did before was go to the dog park. And the humans have all gotten to know each other. And there's a guy, his name is Dan. really cool. And, we were there like on Sunday or something, and it was early because I get up early, and it's like 8, and he's like, sheesh, I gotta go to work, And I'm like, where do you work? And he's like, man, it's a magazine. It's working from home, but I got to publish this thing. I'm like, well, what do you do? Tell me more. And he was like, skateboarding. And I'm like, no, I want to know. Anyway, he gave me a copy of his magazine called Juice.
Juice it up.
Which is published in Venice. California,
cool.
not
it's
Venice,
very
Italy.
Skateboard
It's
vibe.
a Dogtown.
Yep.
Right? And it's great. It's so exciting.
It's so cool. I like the local. It's so local.
It's so local,
so
and it's very skater. I mean, to the point where there are all sorts of things that I would do differently about this magazine were I to be involved. But I just really like Dan, and so yay.
I would love to help produce a magazine. That would be super cool.
I'm like, this is awesome, and like you have like cool sponsors and like great stories and
Vans, man.
Yeah, and Vans.
Nice.
You got all that stuff. All right, so very quickly, I know that I'm always bringing it back to air travel.
And I like it.
Sometimes my plane experiences are fine.
Sure.
Other times...
It makes you want to travel more. When you have a good trip, you're like, I had a great time.
You know what the thing I did wrong was? And this happened a couple of years ago. I went to Europe. It was my birthday.
Yeah.
2016. I was in Amsterdam, and then I was in Belgium. And when I came back from Belgium... I had enough points that I was able to like upgrade to first class. And it was, that's a long trip back to California.
Yeah.
I had never flown first class transatlantically.
Makes a difference.
It was...
It's like night and day.
Ruined me.
It did.
I've hated air travel ever since because
me too.
I'm not a roller that's in first class very often. I don't fly enough to get upgraded.
Yeah.
And I don't have the money to just pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm screwed. And but anyway, there is something I saw on Business Insider. It's so great. It's a little
I love this.
It's an armrest divider of sorts. It's almost like those things that they have you put in your teeth.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. I know. Get X-rays.
You get your tooth
and
X-rays.
You're like,
yeah, and it's kind of a divider thing. So the idea is that, let's say you're in the middle seat, right? And even if you're not taking up a lot of space, there's some sort of etiquette that none of us can quite get right. Where it's like, well,
some
the middle
people
seat
are more mean about it.
The middle seat shouldn't get both, but like the middle seat's also the worst.
Yeah, it is.
Like if you're on the aisle, you can kind of lay out. If you're on the window, you might be sleeping. So it almost sort of looks like an iPad cover, and so it kind of goes up in the middle, and then you got your little sides, and you put it right on top of the armrest, and then both people can comfortably rest their arms and not touch skin.
Yes, or hair.
And that's it. I was on a flight recently, and a woman, she was hogging the armrest, and she had Parkinson's, or there was some, she was, shaking a little bit. And so it was like, I was trying to be even more like, I don't want to, I want to give her some room.
Some space, yeah.
But and she was a small person, and I certainly am, but I was like, I wish we could somehow figure out how to share this so that, we could kind of just be a little bit more natural. This is it. It's called the Soragami or armrest.
It's like an origami kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Soragami, maybe because you're soaring through the air. Ooh, that's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I mean, this thing looks like something that you could put together, for very little money.
It's actually funny because, you have these variety of experiences, but it is a funny thing. It's a funny, awkward thing when you sit down and then you've got like some bigger dude next to you with like a big arm that might be maybe 3 of my arms. And so maybe they think that, well, I'm bigger, so I should, have the lion's share of the
Well, and
it's a tough thing.
This is a funny thing. So when I worked at TWiT, I worked with Jason Howell, who many of you may know, who's still working there and doing a great job. He's really tall. One of the tallest people. He's Ryan Vance tall.
Yeah.
Just huge, very tall. 6'6" or more.
Totally,
I don't even know. And there were a couple times, we went to CES or whatever, where he's like, I mean, if somebody reclines in front of me, they're crushing me. Like, it hurts. Like, I have to politely be like, you can't do, like, you're hurting me.
They don't really do a very good job with the tall person situation on an airplane.
I mean, you're sardines as it is.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about it. I knew that the taller you are, the more you feel cramped.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, my feet don't even hit the floor, so, nobody's perfect.
I don't know what's worse, though, being tall or being, like...
Well, yeah, I don't know. Girth and height and the whole thing. But I never really thought about it in the sense of, like, you have to actually say to someone... You can't recline. I mean, you're crushing me. Like, this is painful and inhumane. Yeah. But at the same time,
inhumane.
It kind of, right? Like you would. Nobody's like, I want to crush you. Yeah. You nice person behind me. Like,
I don't know. Some people might.
But if somebody's reclining in front of you, I'm always sort of like, whatever the person in front of me does, like, I'm following suit.
Sure. Oh, yeah, totally.
And the plane seats have that built in. Mm-hmm. However, I know, and many of the debates I have about this come from people much bigger than me, who were like, "No, it's really rude." I'm like, "But what if you're trying to sleep?"
Yeah, that is tough. It's very.
Or what, you're using your laptop and the person in front of you has done it, so like you kind of have to. Or
like, we should do an entire show about airline etiquette. I'm serious, because I'm thinking about it. My mind is just like,
it's gonna be our spin-off show. Yeah. Have such a good flight.
Yeah. No. I like it.
It's actually.
Let us know if you would support that. Right. we'll make a whole new goal.
We'll make a tier. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of, we are on Patreon. We're lots of places, but we'd be remiss if we didn't remind any of you who might be discovering us for the first time or might be saying, well, you talk about your patrons, like to know more about it. Patreon.com/HaveSuchAGoodDay. So what we have there is many things. We have an audio podcast that's free. Mm-hmm. We've also recently made our video podcast free because so many of you were like, we want to see Otis's butt in the background of your episode and what nice things Heather is wearing. And Sarah, why you're wearing that strange shirt with a corgi dog on it that you've had for 19 years, but whatever. But those are both free, and we also have, as we mentioned, bonus topic versions of the show where you just get more of us.
Or you could even talk to us in Discord, which is like Slack or any kind of like sort of chat program, and you can kind of chat with us throughout the day. I don't know if you want that much of us, but maybe you do. I mean, we talk casually about all kinds of things,
if you can't stay away.
Yeah, no, it's great. We actually have a really great warm community going on in there right now. We've got like a bunch of regulars. We talk about shows. We talk about hiking. We talk about exercise pants. I mean, all kinds of things.
We got some personal life stuff going on in there.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, the idea is if you are familiar with, it's like a modern chat room. It's like a modern IRC. It's not unlike Slack. I know a lot of people use Slack, but Discord is great in certain ways, and we have a very intimate friendship thing going on there. In a perfect world, we have 100 more of those folks, and we can have different rooms. Talk about some
branch out.
Yeah, and just like if there's a certain topic that you want to revisit over and over, like we can kind of start organizing stuff. But
it'll happen.
But for the OG folks that are in there now, you can always say that you were
there in the very beginning.
Yeah,
I love it.
And so we love you the very most. But anyway, lots of options.
Yes, lots of options. And our show comes out weekly. We have a website, HaveSuchAGoodDay.com.
Yeah. It's spelled just like it sounds. And all our episodes are there, plus links to Patreon. If you remember, HaveSuchAGoodDay.com. The rest of it, we've laid out for you. You can't get lost. Go there. Tell a friend.
We're on iTunes.
We are.
We're legit, man.
Yeah.
We're rolling right along.
Hey, Heather, 10th episodes. If we were sick of this, we wouldn't be here. Yeah.
Cheers to that.
10 Annie.
1-0.
Where's my 10?
10 Annie. All right, speaking of celebrating, in fact, I wanted to we're going to have to do another toast because guess who's back in our universe?
Oh, is this a comic book thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But you could guess again. You'd probably guess.
Guess who's back in our universe?
Science? Oh. I might talk about science here.
Well, okay. I think we might be talking about maybe some interplanetary.
I think you might be right.
Okay.
This is really quick. I'm not going to get into much detail, but apparently Pluto is now back into being considered a real planet because 12 years ago it was downgraded to a dwarf planet.
Right.
But a lot of the criteria wasn't really like thought through. And essentially the definition of a planet is you have to be big enough for the gravity to make it a spherical shape. And so it
seems like a lot of size bias to me.
I totally, which is a thing. It's a thing.
But who says a dwarf planet isn't a real planet?
I mean, it's all about how you handle yourself.
That's right. It's your gumption.
The way you orbit around in the universe is what really matters.
So Pluto's back.
Pluto's back, and I want to toast because I am like, this is the little planet that could.
Yeah.
And he's a real cutie, and I'm just really happy to have him back.
Pluto, we salute you. Salute, Pluto.
Salute.
So, yeah, man, I'm glad to hear that. Especially because I remember, God, 12 years ago, it doesn't seem like 12 years ago. Because I remember being like, dwarf planet, what?
Yeah.
Because in school, 9 planets,
yeah.
And you know the order, and Pluto's
Totally.
the last one, and it's it was sort of a big
It's like
part of
chaos
what
in
you
school
know
now
about.
for kids. Like it's so
Yeah.
confusing. It's like what's a planet and what isn't.
Yeah, solar science, man. Now Pluto's back. All right, so no dwarf planets.
How do you even believe anything that anyone says anymore? Because
don't.
the facts change all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it's what did I read the other day? I stopped drinking kombucha as much recently, not fully because I really like kombucha, but I mean, I was drinking kombucha
Like every day.
for sure every day, and sometimes I would splurge and have 2.
Yeah.
And
wow.
these are like $5 each.
Oh, yeah.
It's extremely expensive. So I just have put the brakes on the kombucha buying purely for financial reasons. But I read some study where it's like some new Harvard professor says that probiotics are just a bunch of hoonanny and they're like not actually doing anything for
Horse
you.
hockey?
Horse hockey. Yeah. Or horse pokey. or dung. Whatever. But, and I didn't even really read the article because I was like, I don't want to hear that, because I try to eat probiotics in lots of different forms. But yeah, that's just more of the same where it's like, I don't know. Is it not good for me? Is it bad for me?
Eggs, milk.
Is it nothing? Is it like charcoal water where no one can really tell me what it's doing, but it sounds good, so I'm drinking it?
Why don't you just I don't know, you could just, if you drink charcoal water, can you just take the remains of like your charcoal from your barbecue and just like lick it? I mean, is that the same?
My cat Sparky used to do that.
Ooh.
And this was like not a gas. It was like an old school.
Yeah.
You have to buy the
we have
chips,
that actually.
whatever. Yeah, it actually smells better, but it's like less good
It's
for
a
you
pain
or
in the
whatever.
ass to light though.
Yeah, but we used to, we'd barbecue out on the lawn. And
Smart.
I'm laughing because this is just my old house where you guys can't see it, but we parked on our lawn. We were just country people, but we'd barbecue chicken or whatever it was every now and then, and then Sparky would go up and like you could see him being like, "Is it cold enough?" Like, "Nah, it's still too hot." And then
buddy.
we were like, "That's really bad for you. Like, there's something a little wrong with Sparky," but whatever. All right, so you were talking about film festivals and stuff that you've seen a lot of buzz about and excited about. So I figured I'd kind of do the same thing, but this is a lot more Sarah's on the couch. She's not dressed up for a premiere or a gala of any kind. If we're lucky, she's wearing pants. She's probably not, right? Because she's right here.
Do you often lay around in your underwear?
I do every single day of my life.
That's good to know.
There's at least
I always want something on though. Like I want like shorts or.
Yeah, I'm not going commando.
Yeah.
I might wear, little
something,
shorts.
like little boxer shorts or something.
I'm not on my couch just naked watching The Price is Right.
Because if so, we'd like photo evidence, please. The Price is Right.
Heather, what are you doing at 10 a.m.? My gosh. Price is Right is one of my favorite things to watch at Goldstone.
I actually like it too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful show. It hasn't changed. But but this is
A+.
This is, yes, A+. Yeah, we were thinking we're not going to go too crazy about ratings, but it might be helpful as we run through some of the stuff to be like, this is something that you can also watch. It's freely available. Here's my rating. First one that I watched, it's a BET original, The Bobby Brown Story.
I really want to see this, actually.
Now, it's a two-parter, so I was like, oh, there's only 2 episodes, so like, But no, each episode is, it's like part 1 and part 2, and then it's over, and they're both 2 hours.
It's like 2 movies. Yeah, it's like Godfather, but like 2 parts.
Yeah, it's the better part of 4 hours.
Godfather should have been 2 because number 3 is terrible. But
doesn't even exist. Just the 2. But the Bobby Brown story. What's that?
It's a B.
I would call it a solid B.
Okay.
This is Bobby Brown was a pop star when Heather and I were in junior high.
Pretty big. We did like a group dance on the stage for like
married Whitney Houston.
Yeah, huge deal.
Also a big. I mean, the whole it's their union is well documented, and there's a lot of tragedy involved.
Yes.
So if you don't know anything about the story, this is a biopic. It's not a documentary. It's played by actors, but I thought it was great. I knew the story more or less, and I watched the whole thing. As soon as part 1 ended, I'm like, we're going to 2.
I'm into
Some ramen on the couch, 4 hours, done. So that I give it a solid B.
B's good. B's good.
B's good. Yeah, it's above average. I also watched the season 2 premiere of The Deuce,
which I'm gonna watch tonight probably.
Yeah, premiered on premiered on HBO last season. And has huge names: Maggie Gyllenhaal, James Franco, who plays twins, actually, so he plays lots of different folks, and some variety of other actors. And it's about the porn industry in its infancy
in the 60s and 70s.
In the 70s.
70s, yeah.
Yeah, 70s, and we're gonna get into the early 80s pretty soon. But it is graphic, and it's not super happy, and I don't know that I would recommend. I'm not going to recommend it to anybody under 18.
No, it's pretty graphic. I heard they changed the theme song to like match because it's like a little further in time from like season 1. So I think it's like an Elvis Costello song now.
Oh gosh, now
I think the theme is different.
I can't even remember. I was so fixated on their font type.
I know it's really stylistic.
It is, and it's almost. Well, I don't know. Now we're really getting into the weeds. This is why we like talking about this stuff, but. Somebody tell me what that font face is, because it's almost like garbled. So it's hard to read the actors' names, but that's purposeful. It's certain vowels just kind of look weird. I'm going
to find that font for you.
Find it.
I actually love fonts. I'm going to find it.
Yeah. Anyway, The Deuce I thought was it's an entertaining show. Again, the content is very mature, and there's some unhappy stuff. This is drama. It's not funny.
No.
But I give it a solid B+.
Yeah,
I'm excited for this season. Yeah. Good new HBO show. Now that Sharp Objects is over, I need something else.
It's always so sad. It's like that, like you go through mourning when like your favorite show like ends.
Yeah.
Like I just finished Ozark season 2, and I would give that show a B. I would probably give it a B, but so it's not perfect, but Laura Linney is incredible.
She is.
And I don't know why she didn't. I saw a billboard today that said Jason Bateman is getting nominated for an Emmy for directing, because he directed the first 2 episodes, and then he's one of the main actors.
Yeah.
Laura Linney's his wife in it. I'm like, how did she not get nominated? He got nominated, but she didn't. So I'm a little confused about that, because she's seriously like a scene stealer. It's such a good, it leaves you at the edge of your seat. You don't know really what's going to happen. I love thrillers, and so it's not perfect, but I am sad I can't go home tonight and watch an episode, because
Why can't you go home?
I'm done. It's already finished it. I can go home, but I'm going to be watching The Deuce.
Keys.
No, I'm watching a new show.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, I can't hear. I forgot that I almost didn't mention this. Gideon, starring Jim Carrey.
Oh no, I was actually going to mention that too.
It is weird.
It's super weird. Well, it's Michel Gondry.
It is, and who's
very specific and great.
If you're not familiar, it's odd. I was explaining this to the guys on DTNS in our post show. I guess it was yesterday, maybe the day before, and I was like, this is an odd movie, and I would liken it.
It's sort of like Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind.
It is, and Jim Carrey was obviously the lead in that, and there is some sort of like Mr. Rogers kind of stuff going on.
For sure.
Even though there's a Fred Rogers documentary that's totally unrelated to this, but I get the feeling that they, whoever figured out this redonkulous screenplay for a series, it's not a movie, it's a series, it was like, what if Fred Rogers was like really complicated in real life?
Yeah.
And like what might be going on with his kids and the whole thing. I like it.
I really like it too.
I don't know where it's going, but I'm into it.
I like it. I would give it, I would say...
I'd call that an A.
I would right now. So far. You know who I love? Catherine Keener's great.
Love her
so many great little side, like little narratives. And then his ex-wife is Julie, what's her name? She's great. Frank Langella, who's like the boss.
Right.
I love that man. His son was in Handmaid's Tale. I'm so like attracted to him. He's Max Langella.
You're always talking.
Or Max Langella.
I think it's Langella.
Langella?
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I'm
terrible at pronunciation.
Italian
Apologies.
people, let us know.
But he looks so much like his dad. It's just cool to kind of see.
I didn't realize that was his son.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and they look a lot alike. It's interesting. But I was going to say, so one other thing that is sort of, and maybe you have had this experience because you're like, The Sinner, it's kind of odd. The Sinner is it's an original show on USA, and it starred Jessica Biel as the lead in the first season. And at first, I remember seeing the trailer and first few episodes, and it took a little while for me to warm up to it. There's a little bit of a hokey, late night, not soft porn because it doesn't have like sex in it per se, but it has a little bit of a like maybe
like titillating
budget
kind
of
thing.
Purpose. Yeah, like but it's a really good thriller, and there's a lot of twists and turns that you would not expect. It really keeps you on your toes. Season 2, I think, is great. I actually really look forward to. I think it comes out on Wednesday, but I'm excited about that. I would give that. I don't know. I would give it at least a B+. I think it's a pretty solid show. I think even season 2 is probably a little better.
Okay.
I guess Jessica Biel's like an executive producer now, so she's not on the second season as an actress, but she's behind the scenes, which I think is kind of interesting. Anyway, are we getting close to the end?
We're getting close to the regular show. So,
the end of the regular show, yeah.
The finale of the regular show. But we do have a bonus topic for our $10 and more patrons, $5 more and $5 and more patrons.
Yep.
Heather and I are gonna get
$5
this right.
ballas.
$5 ballas. Yeah, of course. That's how we'll always remember. But just a quick plug again. If anyone has found us by happenstance, we're so glad to have you. We want you to have such a good day.
I want to know how you found us, actually.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool. Helpful because we're in the process right now of kind of reluctantly figuring out how we promote ourselves better.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I say reluctantly, it's because it's, you don't want to bug anybody by like doing too much of it, but you want it to be smart and helpful and the right folks who like this show.
We don't want to beat people's heads with it, but we actually
bash your head in with a bat.
We kind of do. We actually kind of do. No, but we have a lot of really cool like long-term plans, but we also have some more short-term plans. Like we would really love to have interviews on the show.
Yes, we
right
would.
now we are literally, no joke, there's no more than just Sarah and I doing the show every week. And you think, oh, well, how hard could that be? Well, it actually, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. You have to, there's pre-production, there's production, there's post-production.
Sure. Yeah.
There's all kinds of back-end stuff. You have technical issues.
Sure. And gear and us sort of working with certain editing programs where we're like, well, we can figure it out, but we're not that good.
Yeah.
And we're learning as we go along. And so that's
why everything's a little scrappy.
That's part of the fun.
It is fun.
But we
have lofty goals.
If we get to a place where we're and we've chosen Patreon specifically because we really like the ad-free model. For us right now, that's the absolute best way to do it.
Yep.
Grow the community. If it's community sponsored, which is something that
we believe in,
and we know lots of folks, including ourselves, have had good experiences with. It's a great way to build a community and be able to be answering to the right people,
and to be doing
that's what we want to do,
and do what we want to do. I mean, we're doing the show that we want to do, and yes, we have a lot of we have a lot of things that we want to do that we haven't done yet, but we're trying to find the time in the week to do them. But very, very soon we will have guests. We'll break off and do like some little minute videos for you on the side. We have a lot of plans. I mean, every week we don't even have enough time in the week to talk about it all. I mean, we hang out a lot. We hang out at least once a week, and we talk constantly. So it's only going to get better, not worse. It'll just get better, which is,
if you're going to promise them like that, Heather, you better hold yourself to that.
Seriously.
Now it can't get worse. Great. As if I didn't have enough pressure. But hi at havesuchagoodday.com is a great way to email us. Give us some feedback.
Totally.
If you have questions, you got something, some sort of a strange armrest divider on an airplane, like stuff like that. That you think,
let us know what you want us to talk
The
about.
girls would really like this.
I know, I love it.
Send it over, and then we can make the show more about everybody.
Exactly.
And it becomes more of a community effort, which was the whole point.
Exactly.
HaveSuchAGoodDay.com, of course, is our home base. Everything is there. But I think for now, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to the great unwashed.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching.
I'm also one of those people. I did shower today.
I did. I just forgot to brush my teeth, but I'm all good.
Can't win them all. I'm Sarah.
I'm Heather.
Have such a good day.
Have a great day. See you next week.